thank you for joining us here in London today and for taking the time to talk to us. Let me start by asking, why are SRTs such an important part of your agenda?
So SRT transactions is a tool for helping the banks to reduce their credit risk, to reduce their capital requirement. And for us, this is important because we want banks to originate new lending to SMEs. So that's for us the full rationale for SRT transactions. We can deploy them to immediately help the bank get capacity for new lending. So that's why we do.
So you've been very active with first-time issuers. Tell us, what are some of the main hurdles for smaller banks looking to execute their first SRT?
We have been active in several new jurisdictions across Europe, Baltics, Norway, Eastern Europe, mainly with a lot of new issuers. I think seeing new issuers is very natural as the market is developing. I think issuing the first or the second SRT transaction is a challenge for any bank, but especially for banks without previous securitization experience. So then it takes time to educate the personnel internally for how to do it. It takes time to understand the regulation, and particularly for issuers in jurisdictions where there have not previously been SRT transactions, they need to understand how the local competent authority would consider this, and that's typically challenging. So it requires quite a bit of back and forth to identify the best potential portfolio, and it requires a bit of education, and eventually the transactions materialize, and then typically there will be another one, either with us or with other investors.
So you are very active in the Nordics. Are you also seeing a growing interest from Nordic investors to participate in the SRT space?
I think now we are one investor, so I wouldn't maybe have the best overview of what other investors are doing, but I think there are not so many Nordic investors contemplating this. In general, what investors do we see investing in SRTs? We have the MDBs, that's us. We have pension funds, we have reinsurers, insurers, and we have credit funds. So each can provide different possibilities of investing. I don't think we see many Nordic investors, and maybe this is because there's not an active securitization market in the Nordics to start with, so the capacity is not fully developed yet. But it's likely that I think the Nordics is bubbling. We see more and more transactions. We've seen a couple of transactions coming out of Sweden this year. So an initial synthetic securitization in Norway last year, another Norwegian transaction just recently. So with an increase in supply in the Nordic, we will eventually see more Nordic investors as well.
And that naturally brings us to a policy question. So how does the EIF's agenda align with European policies?
The mission of EIF is to help improve access to finance for SMEs. So this is why we invest. We've been active in securitization since 1996, and we've been active with synthetic securitizations since quite a while. So over the last 10 years, we've done some 200 securitizations in total. Approximately 100 of them are synthetics, so it's nothing new for us. And if we invest total 4 or 5 billion in securitizations a year, and if maybe 2-3 billion of this is synthetics, the number there is actually not the number invested, the amount invested. That's not what matters. What matters is the impact we create, and the impact in terms of new lending. So with every transaction we do, we require, or we agree with the counterparties, the banks, to commit to originate new lending to SMEs. So maybe this is one time the invested amount for senior tranches, and typically around 4 times the size of the mezzanine tranche investment. So if we in 2024 invested some 4.5 billion in securitizations in total, we also agreed new lending commitments for close to 9 billion, and out of this, approximately 50% is tagged to go to sustainable investments or to support climate lending. So this is why they do it. So the SRTs, they tie very well to the policy objectives of the EU and what we want to achieve. So typically this is for climate, but we also support innovation, we support gender equality. Nowadays, of course, a hot topic is security and defense.
And could we see more transactions coming from smaller lenders and cooperative banks?
I think we've seen a lot of new issuers coming to the market during the recent years, and I would expect this to continue. Maybe if we would dare to look even past the 12-18 month window, and if we assume that the proposed regulatory changes now on the table are being implemented somewhat relatively close to what they are looking now, then I expect we will definitely see new issues, because it will be easier for originators to find profitability in potential structures. It will be easier and also swifter. It's already become swifter to execute deals with fast-track approach recently deployed by the ECB. So I would expect we see new issues, and I would especially anticipate that we will see a higher number of transactions. So probably also many issuers that have just recently launched their initial securitization, or maybe the second. I think for them, many will contemplate setting up a more programmatic approach going forward. And with that, we will see, I would guess, a bigger number of transactions.
And finally, what are some of the hot jurisdictions in Europe right now?
So coming back to the Nordics, I think I think this is a region where we will definitely see an increase, at least on a percentage basis, because the activity in the market has been limited historically, and now we are seeing an uptick. Not a change overnight maybe, but definitely an uptick. I think we will continue to see a lot of transactions originated out of the Baltics. So that would be my prediction. And then a steady flow from other regions, both Central Europe, Southwest, Southeast.
Thank you so much, Jesper, for taking the time to talk to us today.